Today, I am testing 4 different fruit style balls in going balls and comparing how they look in the game against real life fruits. This is not only about the skin design, I want to see how each fruit ball feels during the level, how it handles turns, obstacles, speed sections, narrow paths, and risky jumps. So this is a fruit showdown in-game ball versus real-life fruit reference. Let's start with the first one. The first ball has a green fruit design and visually it gives a simple, clean look inside the game. On the right side, I'm keeping the real fruit reference so we can compare the idea behind the skin and how it translates into gameplay. At the beginning, this ball looks quite easy to control because the design is not too busy. It is easier to track the movement on the path. That actually matters in a game like going balls because if the ball skin is too detailed or too dark, it can become harder to judge the edges. Here the track starts with basic movement, but the difficulty slowly increases with curves, coins and narrow sections. The green fruit ball feels light and responsive and it does not visually distract too much, which is a good thing for control. Around this section, the ball starts moving through more curved parts of the level. This is where a clean skin helps because I can focus more on timing instead of the design itself. Now the obstacles are getting closer and the path is becoming less forgiving. The real test is not just speed, it is whether the ball stays readable when the camera moves quickly. Now we move on the watermelon ball. This one immediately looks more recognizable because the strips match the real watermelon reference very clearly. Compared to the first ball, this design has more texture that makes it more interesting visually, but it can also make the ball look busier when it rolls fast. The track here has more obstacles and tighter movement. The wooden barriers and moving sections make this round more risky than the opening part of the video. The watermelon design works well because even while rolling, the green pattern still feels connected to the real fruit. This is the kind of skin where the comparison actually makes sense. Here the ball has to stay centered while the path changes direction. A small mistake can easily push it toward the edge, especially when the speed increases. This part is important because the ball is not just moving straight, it is reacting to slopes, curves, and obstacles, so the visual clarity matters again. There is a risk moment around this section where the run almost breaks. This is where I would say the watermelon ball looks fun, but it needs more careful control than the first one. For the watermelon round, the design is stronger than the green fruit ball. Now, this is the tomato ball round. Visually, this one is very different because the red color stands out strongly against the bright red. The real tomato reference on the right side gives a clean comparison. And in the game, the red ball is easy to spot almost all the time. This part has more open movement at the start, but it quickly becomes more technical. The ball has to deal with blocks, narrow turns, floating platforms, and section where timing becomes more important. The good thing about this tomato ball is visibility. Even when the camera angle changes, the red color remains clear. That helps during fast section because I can instantly see where the ball is positioned. Here the obstacles are tighter and the path gives less room for correction. The tomato ball looks smoother than the watermelon ball, and because the design is not too detailed, it feels more practical for gameplay. This section with the floating platform is one of the more dangerous parts. The ball has to stay controlled because oversteering can easily cause a fall. Now the track becomes narrow and this is where the tomato ball starts feeling like one of the better choices. It is bright, clean and easy to follow, which makes the gameplay feel more controlled. The tunnel section also gives a good taste. Some skins becomes harder to read inside fast or enclosed areas, but this one still remains visible. For this round, I would rank the tomato ball very high. It may not be the most creative fruit design, but in terms of gameplay, clarity and control, it is one of the strongest so far. The final round is the pumpkin ball. The one has the most seasonal and unique look out of all four fruits. Compared to the earlier balls, the pumpkin design feels heavier and more detailed. In real life, pumpkin have a strong texture and shape, and the in-game version tries to capture that with the orange color and carved style pattern. This round is also longer, so we get a better test of how the ball performs across different obstacles. The level includes icy paths, speedy sections, wooden platform, narrow turns, and higher risk movement. At this start, the pumpkin ball looks very strongly visually. The orange color is easy to see and it stands out clearly from the track. Now the icy path makes the movement more dangerous. On slippery section, control becomes more important than speed. The pumpkin ball looks fun here, but the level itself is less forgiving. This wooden platform section is another key moment. The ball has to move carefully through turns, and because the pumpkin design is bigger and more detailed, it feels more dramatic during movement. The speed boost section makes this round more exciting. When the pumpkin ball gets faster, the design still stays readable, but controlling the direction becomes harder. This is where the round becomes more intense. The path changes quickly and one mistake can send the ball off the track. The pumpkin ball is probably the most entertaining to watch, but it is not the easiest to control. Near the end, there is a risky moment where the run almost loses control. This kind of moment is useful because it shows the gameplay is not just a repeated straight path. There is actual timing and recovery involved. Now we are close to the finish line. After testing all four fruit balls, my final view is this. The green fruit ball was the simplest and easiest to follow. The watermelon ball had the best real-life visual match. The tomato ball gave the best balance of visibility and control, and the pumpkin ball was the most fun and entertaining to watch. So my winner for gameplay control is the tomato ball, but for visual style and entertainment, the pumpkin ball takes the lead. If you want me to test more going ball skins with real-life comparisons, I will continue this format with stronger challenges and more detailed ranking in the next video.